Hi, Matt from Modern Samurai here again, and today I want to talk about pressure testing within the martial arts. So before we get into that, guys, don't forget, subscribe, click the little bell notification, and obviously leave us a comment what you think about this particular subject and any other things you'd like talked about. So let's have a look at that then. So when we talk about pressure testing, it's a bit of a buzzword amongst the sort of self-defense, combatives, martial arts community, and it leads people to believe that they actually pressure test during their training. Now, some instances that's the case. In other instances, I tend to think that that's not so much. I see many videos out there on YouTube and things like that where essentially it's just a cardio drill with pads. So when you look at pressure testing, are you actually really pressuring the person, or are you just giving them a bit of a workout? So as an example of that, if we look at the fight or flight response, and then we also add the freeze response. Now, the freeze response essentially is just an overwhelm, a complete overwhelm of the situation, all right? So it basically means that you freeze, you can't do anything. Now, when we look at that logically from a medical perspective, then that's essentially a phobic reaction. All right, now I talk about this a lot more in some of my other videos, but essentially, when we look at the freeze response, I tend to equate that to a phobic reaction. Now, when we look at how the medical profession deals with that, they do a thing called immersion therapy. Now that's pretty much the #1 way that they go about curing phobias. So basically what they do is they just piece by piece, little by little, bring that person to the problem more and more until they become desensitized to it, until they become more able to deal with it. And the same should apply to pressure testing. So when you look at a situation where you just continually do pad drills, maybe you shout at the person, maybe you run around a little bit, maybe you've got 2 or 3 people with pads, that's not the same thing. Okay, so that's a cardio workout, yeah, it's a bit of fun, it's a little different, okay, but that isn't what I would class as pressure testing. Pressure testing means you have to take that person well outside of what they're comfortable with, well outside of the normal. So if, as an example, your idea of pressure testing is a couple of people with pads and the person hits the pads, that becomes the new normal. So you've got to move out of that normal, you've got to move out of that space. So they've got to be uncomfortable to grow. So whatever your pressure testing is, you have to actually up the ante to make it worthwhile doing as a desensitizing strategy, right? Now, you'll quite often see people that wear these kind of different suits. Now again, there's some great attributes to get from that, there's some great skill building things to get from that. But let's be honest about some of these things. If you've got a guy dressed as a human dustbin, there's no timing, there's no distancing, there's no target areas, there's no learning how to strike correctly. So there's an awful lot of fun and you know, quite a little lift in excitement and adrenaline, but there's a lot of skills that's missing out. Okay, and again, when you see this with the kids especially, you know, when you've got 7, 8-year-old kids being told to punch and kick a grown adult as hard as they can, everyone's yelling, everyone's upbeat, everyone's positive, and yes, it is positive, yes, it is a really good fun thing to do. But are we perhaps giving those kids a false sense of what they can actually achieve in the moment? Are we perhaps giving their parents a false sense of security as to what they can actually do? And then, you know, if you're in any doubt about that, ask yourself, honestly, you know, if you were viciously attacked by an 8-year-old child, do you think you could fend them off? That is a fair question. And so when you're teaching these people and you're giving them guidance and you're saying this is pressure testing, ask yourself if it really is. And so make sure that it's incremental. Make sure that the discomfort gets bigger, it builds, and every time somebody gets comfortable within those particular parameters of whatever drills you're doing, change the drills, add more in, take more away, whatever it needs to make it more realistic and help those people to desensitize to it. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any comments, do let me know. It's a topic that I like to talk about, and it's something that I think needs exploration because I'm not entirely sure that people are getting the full value from pressure testing that they could. And just a few little tweaks here and there could really, really make a difference to the students. So, guys, catch you next time.